Welcome to episode 63 of the Forward from 50 podcast, where we interview people over 50 who are pursuing new direction for their lives. It's an opportunity for men and women to tell their stories, their way, in their own words. I'm Greg Gerber, the founder of Forward from 50, and your host for today's show. Today, I am interviewing a fifth-generation Texas native who spent her career working in municipal recreation. After retiring, she entered the Miss Texas Senior America pageant. Jill Beam grew up in the spotlight, so to speak. Her father was a professional musician in the Fort Worth Symphony for nearly 40 years, and her mother was a well-known speaker and actress in the local area. As a result, Jill grew up around a lot of people and enjoyed being in the limelight herself. She went to college to get degrees in recreation and education. Eventually, Jill landed her dream job overseeing festivals, special events, and dozens of recreation centers, as well as 435 city parks. Toward the end of her career, she became a trainer to advance a customer service initiative with the city's 13,000 employees. In 2015, Jill left that position, but she didn't retire. Instead, she rewired and went to work for senior centers and retirement communities. Eventually, Jill followed in her mother's footsteps and became an entertainer, speaker, and book reviewer. Her crowning achievement was participating in the Miss Texas Senior America pageant, which was an event that Jill's mother served as MC for nearly 20 years. To tell us how she manages to stay busy even after retiring from decades of public service, please welcome Jill Beam to the show. Thanks for joining me today, Jill. I really appreciate it. You are the first pageant queen that I have ever interviewed, so congratulations. That's quite an accomplishment. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a fifth-generation Texas native, and I graduated from Texas A&M Commerce with a degree in recreation as well as physical education and with a minor in education. And I worked for actually the City of Dallas Parks and Recreation Department for 28 years. I served as the events and reservations manager, in charge of all the special events, all the runs, all the festivals, reserving, to be specific, 42 recreation centers, 27 community pools, free rental facilities at the Jewel of Dallas, White Rock Lake, and many other things go along with City of Dallas Parks. There are 435 parks in the City of Dallas.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I knew it was a big city. As a Dallas native or as a Texas native, do you get a special license plate? There's so many people moving to Texas, they should be able to designate that for you.
No, unfortunately not. I'm almost a fifth-generation Dallas native. We moved to Dallas when I was 6, so I declare Dallas as my home. But I was born in San Antonio Hospital at Brooke Army Hospital, where my father served at Fort Sam Houston.
Oh, my. So he even served in Texas.
And he didn't actually serve. He was in the very first 4th Army Band.
Okay.
He was a professional musician with the Fort Worth Symphony 40 years, played in the orchestra of the Casa Mañana Musical Orchestra for 40 years in Fort Worth, but he was in the very first 4th Army Band.
Wow. And I understand your mother is well known in the Dallas area, too.
She is. She wears many hats. She was a teacher at Dallas Baptist College for 12 years now, Dallas Baptist University. She was head of speech and drama. But when she retired from there, she went on to be a full-time public speaker. And she did that for 50 years. She presented over 300 speeches a year, and she's been in several movies. She's written 8 books, so she's quite a phenomenon. She'll be 92 in September. And we like to use the word percolate, and she continues to percolate even at 91.
Oh, that's wonderful. Or as they say in Texas, bless her heart, right?
Yeah.
Were expectations high for you because your parents were so well-known and influential in the community when you were growing up?
It's funny you should ask that, because so many people, since I took over my mom's book reviewing business, they always say, funny speaking, they always introduce me as Rosemary's baby because her name's Rosemary Rumbley. But they said, we're not going to do that anymore, Jill, because you've developed an identity of yourself. You're Jill Beam. You're not Rosemary. You are Rosemary's daughter and you're Rosemary's baby, but you are, yourself. But it's funny because people always ask me, did you feel in the shadows of your parents, since they were both so well known in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? I really didn't. I was proud. I was very proud. I'm very blessed.
That's neat. Now, you've had a rather varied career. You've worked as a teacher at a high school for a while?
Yeah, I taught dance at the Arts Magnet High School for 3 years until I decided I did not enjoy being tied to a bell. With having both my parents being educators, I felt like I needed to also follow in their footsteps with that. But I was always very passionate about Dallas Park, and I just became smitten with them, and I made Dallas Park Recreation my career. But I hold the record with the city of Dallas for being the employee who quit the most and came back. I quit 4 times and came back 5. But the interesting thing about quitting the city each time I came back at a higher position.
Well, that's neat. What did you like most about working for the Parks and Rec Department?
Really, it was the people. I just loved the people within the Dallas Park system. Everybody within the city of Dallas always wanted to work for Dallas Parks because we had such a great department. I worked under 3 wonderful directors, and that's what I really enjoyed most. I think the creme de la creme was our city manager asked me to be in charge of her customer service initiative, where I trained over 13,000 employees about the importance of customer service, which is really unheard of, being that it's a municipality where you have to deal with red tape and policies and bureaucracy and things like that. But it was really a big coup for me to do that for 3 years, to be the trainer for 13,000 employees.
I was going to ask what a customer service trainer does for a city or a municipality, because many cities don't look at people as having customers. They look at them as being subjects. But being a customer seems like it'd be more friendly.
Yeah, exactly. And this particular city manager, her name was Mary Sooms. She retired, but she was very passionate about customer service, and everybody embraced her vision. And I was on the initial team that started several other things that we discussed, how recognition is important within a municipality, and how I always said a day without recognition is like a day without employees. You need to recognize people for the job they do.
When did you retire?
I retired in 2015, but I did not retire. I rewired.
Rewired, that's right.
Yeah, I did. I went to work for the city of Lewisville, Texas. I was in charge of their senior programs. And then I went to work for the city of Rowlett, Texas, where I was in charge of their senior programs. And then my final place of employment was at a retirement community called C.C. Young, where I served as their wellness director.
Okay.
And then after that, I went on to being a full-time entertainer, full-time speaker, full-time book reviewer, which I absolutely love.
It's wonderful that seasoned citizens are paying such close attention to wellness. Why do you think that is?
Because people are living longer. I think because people are living longer and they're wanting to be healthy, and the world that we live in now, especially the boomers, which I'm a part of, we want to look good. We want to feel good. And I feel like since all of us, I'm sorry to say, I guess I'm okay to say in September, I'll be 70.
Oh my.
But I feel like I'm 60 inside. I just feel like it's just because we want to look good. We want to feel good. We want to have a good mental well-being, physical well-being. I just think that's the trend now.
A lot of people retire. They have these grandiose plans about what they're going to do and where they're going to go. But if they're not taking care of their health as they are aging, then retirement is entirely different for them. Their options are severely limited.
Exactly. And I know a lot of people retire to travel, and I'm fortunate that I have a wonderful husband who's supportive of me wanting to entertain and teach and do what I love to do, which I'm passionate about.
What does a book reviewer do? I did not know that could be a profession.
It is. In fact, it's quite a lucrative profession. We have a network in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of 27 book reviewers, and there are all these book clubs that have been in existence for 60 years. A lady by the name of Ermance Rajabian, she was Armenian, and she started what was called expression lessons in Dallas. And my mother took expression lessons where you learned how to enunciate and project. And she started book club. And so these book clubs took off. And the way it works is most of the reviewers pick 1 or 2 books to review during the year, and then the book clubs contact the reviewers to come and review the book. And most of these clubs, they don't read the book. Some do, but some don't. They don't actually read the book, but that's the purpose of it, for the reviewer to come in and review the book.
Sort of entice people to review or pick up the book and buy it or read it.
Yeah.
Okay. Super. Now, do you folks review just local books or books for local authors, or are you reviewing books from anybody, basically?
Basically anybody. My passion, having parents that were very involved in the theater and musical, since when my mother retired from doing reviews 2 years ago, the first book I reviewed was by Sutton Foster, who's my favorite actress on Broadway, titled Hooked, How Crafting Saved My Life. And so I decided to review that because I had so many things in common with Sutton Foster. And then this year I reviewed the Audrey Hepburn Way of Life, How to Be Lovely. And it's just the story of Audrey Hepburn. And then this year I plan to review The Hidden Secret of Broadway, and what the secrets are from the ushers, the backstage hands, the costumers, the hairdressers, not necessarily the actresses. And it's just stories that they tell about the many musicals on Broadway they've been involved with. So I like those kind of books. And my mother is a Dallas historian. She's written 4 books about Dallas history. So she has that gift where being a 4th generation Dallas native, she talks that her reviews were mostly about Dallas history because that's her bailiwick. Me, I'm not the historian, I'm the entertainer. So that's how I select my books.
So basically you confined your reviews to the arts, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily going to be reviewing a medical book or a business book.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay,
No.
that's super. So you specialized in that. Do people pay you to review the books?
They do. They do.
Okay. Super. So
Yeah.
that's how you're able to turn this into an effective part-time endeavor once you're retired.
Absolutely.
I like that. And how'd you stumble into that as a career field? If somebody else wanted to do that, how would they get started in their own community?
Of course, I did it because for my mother, being 50 years being a book reviewer, but if anyone would be interested in doing that, we have a YouTube video, and it's just Dallas book reviewers. And it's a video of all the 27 reviewers who we have currently on the list who talk about the books that they're reviewing. We usually do that in March of every year. So we have to be ahead of the game by selecting the books that we'll be reviewing for the next fiscal year, because the book clubs meet September to May. They don't meet during the summer. So,
That makes sense. So if people were trying to do that in their own communities, it sounds like it'd be a great opportunity for people over 50 to develop a book club. There isn't one that exists in their community. Have you been a member of a book club over the years?
Yeah. Here's the deal. A lot of the retirement communities in the Dallas area, they offer book clubs, but a lot of them, the way they operate is they select a book, and the residents of the community read the book and then come and talk about it. And whereas what I do is there are book clubs that meet, whether they meet in a church or a woman's club or the Park City Club in Dallas. There's so many, Dallas Women's Forum. There's just a lot of venues where these book clubs meet.
Okay.
And a lot of them have been in existence for 40 years.
Oh, wow. So they meet like weekly or monthly, and then they're looking for people to come in and review a book that they've read.
That's exactly correct.
Sounds like a very interesting thing to do. Especially in retirement. I was reading some information online, and that's where I discovered the term that you were rewired, not retired. How does somebody rewire in retirement?
I think rewiring yourself is doing something next that you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a part, when I was in college, I went to Dallas Baptist College, now university, and I appeared in my mother's musicals, and I've always loved the theater. And so I knew that when I did retire, I wanted to do something that allowed me to entertain people. And in Dallas, for the past 13 years, my mother and I have appeared in what's called the Spectacular Follies. And it's not a vaudeville, but a variety show for people 55 plus. And we have a wonderful artistic director by the name of Deanne Meese, who decides the themes of each year of the Follies. This year we did Return to this year we did the 70s, Staying Alive. And then last year we did Return to the 50s. And then the year before we did the 60s. So it's just a great opportunity. The cast consists of 100 people, dancers, singers, musicians, stand-up comedians. It's just a great way for people to, if they have a passion about continuing to act or whatever they want to do. But yeah, I think rewiring yourself is doing something you're passionate about. I know it's funny when I reviewed the book by Sutton Foster called Hook, How Crafting Saved My Life, she said, I like to tell people I have 3 things that I go by. Number 1, always say yes, no matter how far out of your comfort zone that yes answer might be. You need to just get out of your box and do something different. And then trust your gut was the second one. Always trust your gut. And the third one is find a hobby. Find something you're passionate about. And this particular hobby of book reviewing is, I'm passionate about it, but it also helps pay some of the bills.
We've talked to a number of people who have picked up things that they abandoned or set down many years ago. Like they loved to do something as a teenager or a young adult, but gave it up because they had to pursue more practical things for a career or to raise a family or whatever. And now that they're over 50, they have the time and the effort and the energy and resources to be able to pick that up again. So I like the way you do that. A lot of people, though, say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Would you say that's true?
You know what? I totally disagree with that because I think you can teach an old dog new trick. I'm also a flautist. I play the flute, needless to say, because being a product of a professional musician, I didn't have a choice whether I wanted to play an instrument or not. And I played the flute since the 3rd grade. And I always play my flute during my reviews. I work it in there somewhere. And so many people that I've spoken to say, oh, I used to play the flute. And I said, you need to play the flute again. Pick it up and try it again. And then something else that recently happened, I'm a twirler as well. And I'm a member of a group called Twirl, Fun, and More. And these ladies are twirlers who twirled back in high school. Never thought they'd pick it up again. But the lady who's in charge of our group, Jeannie Strange, she's 85 years old. She continues to twirl and she puts the message out there. It's not too late to do that, even though you did it when you were in high school or junior high school. So there's just lots of opportunities for you to think about something you maybe were passionate about, and maybe you can be passionate about it again.
That's funny that you mentioned that. I am from Arizona, but I'm up here in Wisconsin visiting my daughter and her family. And we were attending a community parade a couple of weeks ago. And one of the groups going through the parade was called the Dancing Grannies. And these were grandparents or grandmothers who were dressed up as pom-poms and they were putting on a little routine. So I know exactly what you're coming from.
And I know that group because some of them have been in the Senior America pageant. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's also a group that was at, I forget where they're from because I didn't really join as a member. I joined as an ex officio member, but there's a group called Red Hot Mamas, and they dress in red and these wigs, and they're in parade, kicking their legs up. Some of them can still do cartwheels, and some of them can do high kicks. And so a lady in Trophy Club, which is west of Dallas, started a group called the Red Hot Mamas, and it's just fun. Never too late. I just feel like my philosophy is every day that you wake up, you need to learn something or do something new, because life is an education to me, especially when past 50 or past 60. I've just found out I love where I am right now. I really do.
If I tried a cartwheel, I'd be in traction for about 6 months.
Like what? Yeah.
Yes. But you learned a new trick, so to speak, and you became a beauty pageant. Well, it's not really a beauty pageant, is it? It's more of a skills and a life experiences pageant at that level. Tell us about that.
Okay. It's called the Ms. Texas Senior America pageant. It actually started in the Dallas area in 1905. And my mother, once again, was asked to be the MC of this pageant. And I, as a kid, always loved pageants. I never missed watching a pageant.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to be in pageants. My mother discouraged me because she just said, I'm not a typical pageant mother. And
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see you in pageant. But mother, in 1995, was the MC of the Miss Texas Senior America pageant. She was the MC from 95 to 2013 because
Wow.
the lady that started the pageant decided that she wanted to retire. So she asked my mother if she wanted to take over the pageant. And my mother said, I really don't have time with the many public speaking engagements that I have. It's going to require time. Ask Jill, because I went to every pageant when mother emceed because I wanted to be in the pageant. And so in 2013-14, I was the director. 2014-15, I was the director. But in 2000, in September, I turned 60. And you have to be 60 to be in the pageant. So you compete in 4 categories: philosophy of life, evening gown, interview with judges, and talent. And so I entered the pageant in 2015, and I won the title of Miss Texas Senior America. And then when you win the title of Miss Texas Senior America, you have the opportunity to compete for Senior America in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So I went in 2015 to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Every state was represented, really strong competition. I got into the top 10, which I was very proud of. But we have probably around 21 states who have local pageants for Senior America, and then other people just decide they want to represent a state. But this Senior America has been going on for a long time. A gentleman by the name of Al Mott was an activity director at a retirement community, and he, at the retirement community, did a pageant. And he became very passionate about promoting physical and mental well-being and saying, when you are 60, he called it, you reach the age of elegance. And so there's no time to just sit around and do nothing. You need to get up and be active. And so he started this pageant a long time ago. He and his wife, Al and Betsy Mott. And then they're no longer the owners because they have some health issues. But Senior America continues to thrive very strongly. In fact, it will be October 1, 2, 3, and 4, 2024 in Atlantic City, New Jersey.
That's a neat story. I like that a lot, especially when it's doing things like life philosophy. I mean, because when people get older, they have a pretty decent life philosophy and ability to expand on their wisdom in a public forum like that, I think is very beneficial. So
Absolutely.
You attended pageants for a number of years, and then the door opened for you to actually participate in it. What was it like for you to do that? To be in there or under the spotlight?
I loved it. I really loved it. I still had butterflies, nerves, and there were 23 contestants the year that I competed in Texas. And had so much fun. And once you're in the pageant, you create what's called a sisterhood. And even at nationals, your class that you're in, I was in 2015. So I still keep in touch with the ladies who were in Senior America in 2015, whether it be a Facebook or that we talk on the phone. It's creating a sisterhood that lasts a lifetime. And it's just.
What did you do in the talent portion of that competition?
Interesting. Again, I have expressed already during our interview my passion for Sutton Foster. And Sutton Foster appeared in a musical on Broadway called The Drowsy Chaperone, which was a musical that was written in the 1920s, actually by 2 guys and a girl at a party. And it has music from the 20s and 30s. And the plot is Sutton Foster plays the part of Janet Vandergriff, a big star. And during the musical, she decides she wants to get married. And so she sings this song titled, I Don't Want to Show Off No More. And when I saw The Drowsy Chaperone on Broadway with my mother, we'd go to Broadway for 20 years and cram 3 Broadway musicals into 2 days. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, I don't know where or when, but that song's Show Off. I'm going to sing that somewhere. And so when it came time for me to select a talent, I asked my choreographer, she was familiar with The Drowsy Chaperone starring Sutton Foster. Did she know the song Show Off? And she said, oh my gosh, I saw it twice on Broadway. And I said, I want to do that for my talent. If you Google Sutton Foster Show Off, she things, does cartwheels, does flips. She plays glasses that are half full. She twirls plates. She does numerous things. So my choreographer said, Jill, I don't know that you can do the splits or do cartwheels, but you know what? Let's pull out all stops and have you do everything you're able to do. So what I did was I sang, I played the piccolo, I twirled the baton, and I tap danced.
That's fun.
So thus, I don't want to show off no more. So it was just a fun song. And she did a great job choreographing this song to make it special and for me.
After you won that competition, did you have to make public appearances for a year?
Yes, that's one of the goals that you're supposed to do. Once you win the title of Miss Texas Senior America, or even if you participate in the pageant, we have what's called the Miss Texas Cameo Club. So you can be a member of the Cameo Club, and the Cameo Club goes out and performs at retirement communities, senior centers, civic club, various groups. And so that's an opportunity for people who love to perform, because once you're in the pageant, you can automatically join the Cameo Club. As a year, when you win the title, you are expected, of course, to perform at the Cameo Club and make public appearances. And what was fortunate for me, I was still working for the city of Lewisville, Texas, and they were so supportive. I was able to make a lot of appearances with the city of Lewisville, and having the contacts that I had previously with the city of Dallas, I was able to make a lot of appearances with the city of Dallas as well. So,
did you have to make appearances and parades and things like rodeos?
I wasn't in a rodeo, but yes, parades. I was in the State Fair parade. Yeah, because State Fair of Texas, and then some parades in downtown Dallas. So yeah, lots of opportunities to be a parade and appear.
Then you started a new career as a writer, and you published a book. Tell us about your book.
I did. Again, so often for many years, people always ask me, what is it like being the daughter of Jack and Rosemary Rumbley? Because my dad being a famed musician, my mother being a famed public speaker, they asked me what it was like. Mother really should have been a stand-up comic, because her humor is just hilarious, and she's just amazing, even at 91, and she's just so funny. And so I thought, a lady who was an activities director at one of the local retirement communities here in Dallas called me and asked me if I wanted to do a program for her residents. And at that time, I had a wonderful program called, Laughter for the Health of It, which I just written things about the importance of laughter and things like that. And I always incorporate my flute in the talk. And so I told her, I said, yeah, I have this great program called Laughter for the Health of It. She said, you know what? We really don't want that. I want you to come and talk about what it's like being the daughter of Jack and Rosemary Rumbley. And so I wrote a speech about that, and I shared it at several retirement communities because everybody knew my mother. And then when it came time, when I met Phyllis Jenkins, she has a nonprofit called Powerful Journey. And her mission is for people to tell their story. And so she encouraged me, and I joined her Powerful Journey. And I was able to craft my book, and I was struggling with a title because not everybody knows my mom and dad. If you're local, you do, but if you're somewhere else, you won't know them. But I just decided to still call it Growing Up Rumbley, because that's my maiden name, and that's who I am. I'm Jill Rumbley Beam. And so that's how I came with the title. I had the basics already written when I gave the little abbreviated speech about my life, but then I was able to expand it to craft the book. And actually, it was odd the way it happened. Last May, unfortunately, I fell and fractured my left femur, and I was down for 2 months. So that was really the time I had where I was able to hammer it out in 2 months.
Funny when God gives you an assignment like that. It's our choice whether we're going to carry it out or not. But if we delay too much, he does things like break our femurs so that we have to slow down and carry out the assignment that he had given us.
Exactly. And that's why there's 22 chapters in my book. And the basis of the book, not only to talk about what it was like being the daughter of Jack and Rosemary Rumbley, but also the many changes I've experienced through life. And so when the femur fracture happened, that's when God said, you need to focus That's when focus came into my life and I was able to focus because I'd always wanted to write this book. And so that's when the focus happened. Unfortunately, it was through a fractured left femur, but you know what? It turned out to be a great blessing. And I'm so happy to be an author. I never thought I would be an author, but I am.
That's neat. Do you only have the one book or do you working on another one?
I just have the one book for now. I'm always thinking of other ideas for possibly writing another one. Like I said, I never dreamed because I was always so active in school and college and just never really was very sedentary, so to speak. And so I never actually took time to sit down to do that. And this little detour in life was definitely the answer to get it done.
As a public speaker, are you doing other kinds of topics other than the books that you're reviewing?
Yes, I have several. They're about aging. Again, the one that I mentioned earlier, laughter for the health of it, it just talks about the importance of laughter. And I use a lot of bits from several musicals in that presentation. So it's fun. And also I incorporate our family always had what was called family punchlines, and every family has a family punchline. It's something your family says that only your family would understand. And of course, our family punchlines revolved around musicals, and we continue to use those family punchlines. So I incorporate the punchlines in my presentation on laughter for the health of it. I have one titled, You're Never Too Old to Rock and Roll. And that particular presentation is about people who, older in life, continued to, again, I use the word percolate. For example, Pablo Picasso was on the cover of National Geographic at the age of 91 with his painting Guernica behind him. Grandma Moses, she continued to paint. Then some actresses, Carol Channing, Angela Lansbury, some writers. Yeah. So that's what I talk about in my presentation, You're Never Too Old to Rock and Roll. And then I have one called Musicology. And musicology, that presentation is about using lyrics from various songs that you heard when you were young. For example, Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World. It just talks about various things that you take for granted. I see trees of green, red roses too. So it's musicology, and I use various songs from that. And so,
where are you making those presentations?
For various like senior centers, civic clubs. I'm speaking in 2 weeks to a men's group in Grapevine, a Rotary Club, just various clubs like that.
Do you make money doing that as well, or is this more of a volunteer?
I do.
Okay. That's really neat. I noticed on your website that you said your philosophy on life is based on Matthew 6:34. You must be a woman of faith. Why did you pick that chapter or that verse, and why is it so special to you?
That was ingrained in me as a child because that's how I was taught to live each day to the fullest and don't think about tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday. Just live each day to the fullest. And how I have a philosophy of life which says, what good is sitting alone in a room? Life is a cabaret. It's like a Broadway musical with a lot of intermissions along the way. Life is not always easy. It has many ups and downs, but that's what makes it interesting. So in the Bible, Matthew 6:34 tells us to live each day for itself. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't think about yesterday. In the movie Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood is quoted as saying, tomorrow's promised to no one. So live each day to the fullest, and I say, and remember, life has no remote control. You have to get up and change it. So
that's good advice for people over 50 as well, because so many of us can say life is over. And many times we are made to feel that way by people. We're pushed to the sidelines, etc. And you're taking a kind of an opposite approach, saying, well, you have a lot more to offer people. You just need to get out and do it.
Exactly.
Okay. Super. I like that. If you had to live your life over again, is there anything you'd do differently?
I think everybody would. Again, I don't like to dwell on the past. Unfortunately, I went through a divorce after being married 10 years, and it was tough, but I learned from that. So I just think that, again, you just have to appreciate each day. We're all going to make mistakes. That's just how we live. But I think if you are a person of faith, God forgives. Praise God for that.
Amen. Do you have any advice for people over the age of 50 about pursuing their passion or even identifying it if they're not sure what to do with their life?
Like I say, as I mentioned earlier, I think everybody has a passion about something. You've been passionate about something in your life, no matter if it was when you were younger or even older. But I just think whatever you're passionate about, I think you can turn it around to do something with that passion and just enjoy life. Gosh, look at pickleball now. Pickleball is the biggest sport nationally, and everybody's playing pickleball. Be a pickleball teacher. Just find something that you're passionate about, gardening, whatever.
That's right. You have to have a reason to get up in the morning.
Yes. Yeah.
Super. How can people contact you if they'd like to get in touch with you or to book you to do some speaking?
Okay. I have a gentleman working on my website as we speak, but I'm happy to share my email, which is JAZ as in zebra, Z as in zebra, IN as in Nancy, JIL at AOL.com, Jazz and Jill at AOL.com. And of course, I'm on Facebook, Jill Rumbly Beam.
Okay.
I use social media a lot with Facebook.
Thank you very much for your time today, Jill. I really appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck as you continue to pursue the things you're passionate about.
You are more than welcome, and thank you.
I really enjoyed Jill Beam's comment that she didn't retire, rather she rewired. Rewiring is a great term because she didn't abandon her former career. Instead, Jill used skills she utilized managing parks and recreation and applied them toward senior centers as well. After watching her mother thrive as a seasoned citizen, Jill followed in her footsteps to become an entertainer and storyteller herself. Jill combined a love for reading with a passion for storytelling to deliver presentations to various clubs and service organizations. She describes books she's read, plays she's enjoyed, and experiences she's had throughout her life. Her involvement in the Miss Texas Senior America pageant was a little different from traditional beauty pageants. Contestants need to be at least 60 to enter, and they compete in 4 categories: philosophy of life, evening gown, talent, and an interview with the judges. Still, Jill made her way into the top 10, which opened the door for her to make public appearances and presentations around Texas. For the pageant's talent competition, Jill opted to sing a song from a Broadway play she and her mother had seen together, The Drowsy Chaperone. She sang the song Show Off while twirling a baton, tap dancing, and playing the piccolo. Following her participation in the pageant, Jill rewired again to write and publish her own book titled Growing Up Rumbly, which highlighted her experiences as the daughter of Jack and Rosemary Rumbly. The book describes not only what it was like to have locally famous parents, but also all the experiences Jill has enjoyed in her life. For fun, Jill makes presentations to various groups. She titled one presentation, Laughter for the Health of It. In it, Jill outlines the importance of laughter in life and combines it with bits from several musicals. Another presentation is titled You're Never Too Old to Rock and Roll, which describes the remarkable things older people have done later in life. Jill based her life off the Bible passage found in Matthew 6:34, which says, Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Jill vows to live each day to the fullest, and she reminds people life has no remote control. If you want it changed, you have to get up and change it. People can connect with Jill by email at jazzandjill@aol.com and on Facebook. Her book, Growing Up Rumbly, is available on Amazon and other bookstores. That's all I have for this week's show. If you'd like help in identifying a purpose for your life or to get help planning your next steps, I'm offering a complimentary brainstorming session to members of the Forward from 50 Facebook community. For details, connect with me on Facebook or visit www.forwardfrom50.com. I'll have another inspirational interview on the next episode of the Forward from 50 podcast. Thanks for listening, and if you like the show, please consider leaving a review wherever you download the episodes.